Comic-Con. I'm here to interview Maurice Lamarche, Gray Desile, and Phil Lamar. Question for Phil: What's the best character you've voiced, or do you have like a top 5 or top 10?
I'll answer that. No, okay.
Well, actually, that would make more sense for someone else to evaluate my work, because I mean, the best character from the actor's standpoint actually has less to do with how successful a show is and more to do with how was that Monday. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, there's not any one. There's just every session I ever did where Andrea Romano was the director. Those were great groups of people that we got to work together like you were doing a play in high school, but you did a half-hour cartoon in 2.5 hours. You know, whether it was Static Shock, Justice League, Avatar. I mean, the level of quality of the material, the level of quality of the actors. So those are my best and favorites.
How about you, Gray?
My favorite of the fans is definitely Azula. Yes, you know. And Azula loves that because she likes to be on top all the time. You know, she likes to be adored by her loving peasants. But personally, well, I love being Daphne Blake because it's such an iconic character. And Jeepers, you know, it's just been around for so long, and everyone, like, even if you don't watch cartoons, people know Daphne from Scooby-Doo. But my one personal one that I love, like, fans never go, oh, I love that. It's Queen Moon from Star vs. the Force of Evil, because, you know, darling, she was just a very deep and varied character, and she got to get younger and lose her memory and become sort of a teenager again and reborn with her daughter. So that was really lovely.
How about you, Maurice?
Well, okay, best is a word. I mean, again, I'm with Phil on this. I can't judge my best character. Best time playing the character. I have the best time playing Gray. He's a very complex character, and so there's a lot to explore with him. He's highly intelligent, and yet he's also so blinded by the fact that a 2-inch tall lab mouse just simply cannot take over the world. So his thwartedness, you know, and his inability to see how he's thwarting himself is something that resonates with me. You know, I have this constant sense of thwartedness in my life, and I think to a great degree many of us do. I love playing hedonism on. He's just so much fun to just get in touch with my inner hedonist. Just you can make anything sound dirty, and you can make the dirtiest thing sound dignified by the way you read it as hedonism ball. You know, Yosemite Sam was a lot of fun to play because he was an iconic Mel Blanc character from Warner Brothers, but he was also deeply painful, and I eventually had to step away from the job because I was getting vocal strain on an almost weekly basis, and it made it impossible to do other work. So Fred Tatasciore is doing that now and doing a bang-up job as the character. So those, you know, if you want to, it's a kind of a top 3. There are 3 off the top of my head that are just
Nice.
really fun for me to do.
Who inspired you, Phil, to get into voice acting? I'll just keep asking you the same questions. So for
Nobody.
Phil, nobody?
No, because when I came out, voice acting wasn't a thing. I mean, it's funny because like later on in my career, people said, "Oh, I want to get into voice acting." I still had my '90s head, and that sounded to me like somebody said, "I want to act on the left side of the stage." Because for us coming up in the '80s and '90s, you were an actor. You were looking for a job, any job, whether it was in front of a mic, in front of a camera, on a commercial, on a stage, you know, spokes on a wheel, you know. But the fact that, you know, the voice world has been, you know, it's the nicest corner of Hollywood in terms of a community. You know, everybody supports everybody. That part is wonderful. But in terms of a choice to try to pursue voice acting,
This last one, these 2, that's it.
Perfect.
it was just, I need another job.
And then,
You know, I was on Mad TV, I was doing sketches, putting on wigs and makeup, and they said, oh, and now we're doing this claymation thing. Yes, I'll do that.
I just have been doing voices since I was like, could speak. I was always talking in different accents and different voices and pretending to be from different places when I was at the mall by myself, just doing my own one-woman show. You know, I got called on it once. I was like, oh, look at these lovely things with my friend, you know, and this lady from London was like, oh, you're from London. What part of London are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Piccadilly. So they caught me. She was on to me very quickly. I was only like 11 or something. Anyway, but I've always been doing weird voices, and I was just a strange child. And then I finally found like a career that my strangeness would serve me. So I'm just still a weird lady, but now people are like, she's not that weird, chef. That's actually her job. So
It's like being a person who's 8 feet tall.
yeah,
You better learn to shoot a basketball.
Yes, I made it work. Yeah.
If there was an inspiration, Phil's answer is the perfect answer to that question. I resonate with it tremendously. I come from stand-up comedy, and the impressions were part of my act. And anytime I did voiceover, I kind of fell sideways into it as a result of either the casting person being in the audience, or my first voiceover agent, simply Maurice, being in the audience watching me do stand-up. But I have found some inspirations. Frank Welker inspires me. Just his work ethic and the volume of his work and the kindness that he shows from 1969 to this very day is very inspiring to me. And my mother had a friend in Canada who was kind of the voiceover king of Canada, a man named Nick Nichols, and he was doing a lot of stuff, and he suggested it to me as a career path when I was like 17 years old. And I was like, and he said, but no, you're not gonna be, it's tough to get into. Go after stand-up comedy. So I was always told it was a closed door. But I looked at him, well, if Nick could do it, then maybe I could do it. And, he's a real person, not some mythical figure coming out of my radio. So.
Yeah, people told me too, it's too small of a world, you're never gonna be able to do it, everybody wants to do that. And I was like, yeah, but they gotta have somebody. Like, I feel like if I'm just as good, if not better than whoever's there's gotta be an opening. It really was hard though, man. I had to crash an audition to get through that curtain. You know, they're like, who is she? And I'm like, she's, we have never heard of her. It's like, yeah, I know, because you don't see her. And it's like, they would just I couldn't even get an audition. Finally, my agent was like, just go to this and just say that you were supposed to be there. And actually, had I not booked the job, I think they probably would have not ever seen me again. But I did get the job, so.
Okay, and then I'm done after this.
Yeah.
What would you like to give advice to my fans or people if they want to try to become a voice actor? And then that'll be it. Well, that's the last one.
I think you should do improv and do, also get some sort of online thing like what you're doing, get to build up fans, because nowadays a lot of times they're casting people who already have a following because they want to get as many people as possible to promote the show. And
almost 22,000 followers on YouTube.
That's wonderful, yeah. So yeah, if you can get that built-in following, which you're doing, that's a great thing.
Okay.
TikTok.
Yeah, I echo that. Rob Paulson has a great line. Voice acting is small V, big A. Become a good actor first. Become do improv, do stand-up. I took a writing class for a year with Danny Simon, Neil Simon's brother, and just to learn how to think comedically better. And the things that Danny passed along to us as potential writers, I've incorporated in my acting. Just make sure that it's all grist for the mill. Build your entire performing persona, and voice acting, whether you want to specialize and do just that, or have it be just a bunch of things you do. Just keep the channel open for learning.
And also do one thing for what you want to do in anything. Do one thing toward what you want to do every day. And at the end of the year, you'll have done 365 things toward what you want to do. And I'm telling you, at the end of the year, you will have moved forward toward your goal.
Wow, that's great. There you
All
go.
right,
I'm gonna start doing that.
Well, guys, this is Mike Gallo with the press from Comic-Con. Thank you for interviewing. Thank you, Phil, Gray, and Maurice for the interview. See you guys later. Thank you, guys.